My name is Nishtha and I welcome you all on behalf of Kids Live. Hope you all are in pink of your health. As we had promised to make you meet new people while sitting at home, we are back yet again with another episode of Kids Live. Today, we will talk about UP Startup Policy 2020. And to enlighten his views on this topic, we have with us Mr. Abhishek Tiwari. Abhishek is an associate director with the leading global consulting firm KPMG. He has over 15 years of experience in the field of strategic consulting, risk consulting, policy formulation, and project management, advising state and national governments across continents such as Europe, Middle East, Asia, and Africa. In his current role, he is advising Go Up on strengthening the startup ecosystem. Welcome, Abhishek.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's my privilege.
We also have with us Mr. Amit Mishra. Amit is an entrepreneur and enabler in the Indian startup ecosystem for almost a decade. He advises companies on their Indian entry strategy. He is also a TEDx speaker and works closely for some government initiatives too. Welcome, Amit.
Thank you so much, Nishtha.
Hello, Amit.
Thank you, Abhishek, for taking out time. I'm sure these are busy times for everyone, especially the people working with government. There are too many things happening. Let's start with the conversation. So we also run an accelerator which is supported by the UP government. The accelerator in Noida, and you have been our ardent supporter since the inception of the entire concept. And obviously, we wanted you to be part of Kidspreneur because this is something which a lot of kids want to aspire and work with the big fours, and especially work with the government as well. So let's talk about your journey. Your childhood. How was your childhood? And were there probably if you can share some examples, stories, which you probably can relate today. That ऐसा कुछ करता था मैं बचपन में कि हाँ आज काम आ रहा है, right? Some interesting stories, anecdotes which you want to share.
Okay. Thank you so much, Amit. It's my privilege to be here, and I think we've been talking for very long about this particular session, and unfortunately, it was not happening. So I'm really happy to be here today, and it feels nice to be talking to young children and students. And in our startup policy also, which I will talk about later, we have included the aspect of supporting the children apart from the the young entrepreneurs and the college graduates. So as far as my childhood is concerned, I was most of my childhood I spent in a remote village in UP. It's the district called Ambedkar Nagar. Long back, I think in the 90s, there were not many facilities. The schools, colleges, there were only government schools available. College was too far. I think the closest college we had was like 12 kilometers away, 12 to 14 kilometers away, I guess. And so when I went to I completed all my primary and basic education from a government primary school, and from there I went to for 9th, 10th and 11th, 12th. I think that 12, 13 kilometer away that college was there. So they had a junior section, and that's where I studied. I completed my 10+2 studies from there, and then finally for graduation I again moved probably 28 kilometers far from that place, but still in the rural areas. I completed my graduation as well from there. So during the childhood, because my exposure was very limited, I would say, to the outer world, I did not know many things, I would say, about what was happening around. So for me, the world was very limited, but there was one thing which I would say was unique about me, was that I was a very curious child. I was passionate. I was always passionate. When I see something new, I would think about it. What is this? Why is this? I was very interested during that time in, electricity, these equipments, electric equipments at home. So something needs to be fixed. So I would be the first one to say, okay, let me open it up and I'll try my best to fix it up. Sometimes I would burn it, sometimes I'll fix it. So I was a curious child, since childhood, and that probably helped me explore the world. And as I moved forward, as I uh, got closer to the larger ecosystem, the big cities, big towns, I started exploring very fast and started learning. So I would say, nowadays when I see my kids, they are pretty much privileged that they have access to pretty much everything, whether it's internet, whether it's 24/7 electricity. In my childhood, we did not have electricity also at home. So I think the first time I got electricity in house I was in seventh grade. I would say, right. So it's not about for a child. I think all you need is to be curious, to be passionate, to be forward-looking about your life, and just explore the world around you, and keep learning. I mean, nobody knows everything from the scratch. So we all have to learn different things at various phases of our life. But the positive attitude and the positive behavior towards the life is something which makes all the difference. So I think in my childhood, this is what I learned, and a big role of my father. He kept on, telling me good stories, the morals, the moral values, the all the basic foundations for a child, which makes you a man with integrity, with commitment towards life, with commitment and dedication towards whatever you do in your life. So all those things, I think they play a big part when you grow up and you get into the professional field or even in your personal life. So these things, they help you a lot. But childhood is like that's like a foundation course with, and you have to take it seriously. If you take it lightly, I mean, not so serious also, but just be aware of what you're doing, and just keep learning the stuff, and keep moving in the right direction with the help of your parents, your teachers, your elders, and everything will be sorted at the end.
Right. Interesting. So I think we have pointed out some very interesting points. So inquisitiveness and storytelling are two things which we also kind of promote while talking to kids, because
Right.
a lot of subjects and the relatability happens when you are telling them in a format of a story rather than telling them to just grasp it. So वो जो
Right,
रट्टा
right.
लगाने की आदत जो हमें स्कूल्स में पड़ी है, राइट, वो हम लोग नहीं
बहुत मुश्किल होती है अमित जी। मैं आपको बताऊं, मैं आज भी उतना ही बुरा स्टूडेंट हूं जितना मैं पहले हुआ करता था, इन टर्म्स ऑफ दैट द एंटायर रट्टा मेथड. सो I always found it very, very difficult to memorize anything. But if you tell me something in a very interesting way, so which is why exploratory, adventure which I did myself taught me a lot rather than my books. सो स्टोरीज ने मुझे बहुत हेल्प करी, और मुझे आज भी लगता है कि जब आप अच्छी स्टोरीज बच्चों को बताते हैं तो उनके जहन में कहीं ना कहीं वो रह जाती हैं, और इन फ्यूचर you are able to recall when you are confronted with those issues where probably you would need some strength, you would need some guidance, because all the answers are within us. You don't need to go to third person seeking an answer, because we all have different questions in our lives, and those answers are very peculiar to us. So anybody's answer would not fit for you. So answer seeking has to be within, but for that you need to have a lot of these, stories help us a lot. I completely agree with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk about the current role which you have. You've been a consultant with KPMG, right, and working
Right.
closely with the UP state government. How did you started this journey, and what are some of these challenges which you face every day? I'm because I work with you and I've worked in this space, so I know that. But I think it will be better to hear from what are the key challenges working with governments and obviously working with startups on the other side.
I would say the challenges is that working with government, it's a very high pressure job, I would say, because you have a lot of responsibility. So for me personally, I feel a sense of responsibility towards my state because being an advisor, being a consultant to the government, and uh, you know, contributing in my own way to the entire startup program. So whatever happens, obviously, I am in some bit or the other, I am making a contribution to that. So if my efforts can take the startup ecosystem in a right direction, if my efforts, my contributions can help the youngsters of the state, I think that is the real sense of achievement for me. So I always have a sense of responsibility, not as a burden, but as, it's like an honor for me that I'm working with the government, despite not being an IAS officer. So I get this opportunity, and it's just fantastic. I think the life is very tough because you start the day, but you don't end. So I start my day around 9:30, but it doesn't end until I go to the bed. So till 11 o'clock in the night, I sleep sharp at 11 o'clock. Not even 11:01. So that's the discipline I have. So 10:59, I wrap up everything. But till 10:59, I'm picking up calls. And there are people who call me. There are people who I do not, I happen not to. Sometimes it happens that you're busy in meetings and you can't pick up the calls. So after going back home, I try my best to give a call back to each and every missed call which I have in my phone. So it's a little tough, but it's a lot more rewarding because being part of the government and working for the people of your state, it gives you the kind of kick and satisfaction which probably because I've been a consultant in a private firm, and obviously I've worked for private sector clients also, but there's a sense of satisfaction and some sort of reward for myself, which I feel being in government sector, which I never enjoyed, working for corporates in my life. So this is something which I really enjoy doing.
Right. So I totally agree. So for me, working with government was just something which happened by chance, that I was working with corporates, and I realized that because I'm working with startups, I think I can contribute to the government sector, and then that's where I started working with startup policies with some states, and it is rewarding because I think, and this is the thing which you pointed out. You're not an IAS, but you are actually not less than an IAS because you're contributing at almost the same level. When I tell my dad about this, he feels proud. But वो उनको ये लगता है कि अच्छा IAS तो नहीं हो ना, लेकिन हमें पता है कि वो sense of achievement अलग level पे है.
हाँ, बिल्कुल.
Right. So let's talk about the real thing which we want to talk about, the policy, right? And I think Nishtha had certain things which we kind of picked up.
What this UP policy 2020 exactly is, and how is this benefit for the children and the ecosystem?
So, Nishtha, this UP startup policy, I would tell you, is a lot more different than the previous policy. And I think today I would like to highlight one particular aspect of the policy, which is dedicated to children only. So while working for the ecosystem with the previous policy, startup policy 2017, we always felt that, there was a gap when I spoke to youngsters, especially the college graduates. So what happens that when you are in your graduation, let's say you are at year 1 and you suddenly start thinking about the startup. And what happens that during that time, it takes almost 6 months, an year to understand what the startup means actually, because they have never been exposed to a startup culture. So first time the introduction or the entire introductory part of the startup ecosystem, it takes a lot of time for them to understand and to get accustomed to the to the jargons of ecosystem, to understand what the entrepreneurship or the innovation or the business model and etc, all those jargons which we use. So it takes a lot of time for them, and probably start working in second year, and by the time the second year is finished, finishing or going to finish off, they have a lot of pressure from the parents, from the society, that probably you are getting into the third year. So what are your plans for the career? Are you going to get a job? So there's an immense pressure. 3 years is not good enough for someone to start from the scratch their entrepreneurship journey and take it to the conclusion by well within the third year, right? Because the moment you are in the second half of the third year, there's an immense pressure on you. So we felt that probably, if the kids are exposed at 10+2 level about the entrepreneurship, the concept of entrepreneurship, the innovation, the ideation, so at least they are exposed to the ecosystem, at least they start thinking in that direction. And by the time they become a little mature, they go to, the college, the graduation, that is the time for real implementation. The action begins there. So which is why we brought a change into this new policy, wherein we said that, okay, we will create a curriculum for the students, which will be based on entrepreneurship and innovation, right? So this will be a curriculum. So we have decided to provide two different curriculums. One would be obviously at the college and graduation level, and one would be for the young children, so that they are also exposed. It will not be so complex, but it will just be a basic introductory curriculum. And basis that, so this was one part which we wanted to inculcate in the young children through the academic process. But at the same time, we have also conceptualized an event called Junior Ideathon, which we will activate soon, wherein some sort of hackathons or championships or competitions, contests, so various kind of events we would organize across the state for the little ones, so that this entire startup ecosystem is not just limited for one set of people, but the young generation can also very well participate in it.
What sort of policies can be expanded in this ecosystem?
So in this new policy, I think there are a lot of incentives and benefits. So with the new policy, what we have tried to do actually sort of a balancing act. Our Honorable CM is very committed about, he's very concerned about sort of underdevelopment in Bundelkhand and Purvanchal regions, and which is why he had given us a direction that we should be coming up with some specific provisions about these two areas. So if you look at the UP-based startups which are registered with DPIIT, there are close to 3,000 startups, and out of these 3,000 startups, I think more than 1,000 or 1,500 are based out of Noida and Ghaziabad, and that's not a very good picture for the state as large as Uttar Pradesh. So we want the startups to come up in each and every district because of the state. The Honorable PM also had the same vision that even the remotest area of the country should be having an infrastructure to support the dreams of the startups. So we have taken the guidance of Honorable PM and CM, and accordingly we have drafted the policy wherein we are giving due sort of credit to the Bundelkhand and Purvanchal regions. We are also we have given special benefits for women entrepreneurs, for transgenders, for Divyangjans. So it's a very inclusive policy from the social perspective. It's a very inclusive policy from regional aspirations perspective. So I think there are financial incentives which we have given. We have also created provision, a specific provision for economically weaker sections of the society. So it's a very inclusive policy from social perspective, but at the same time, it's very inclusive policy from the startup ecosystem perspective as well. That we have given due weightage to all the stakeholders across all levels, whether it's 10+2 level, whether it's graduation, whether it's creating the infrastructure of 100 incubators, or creating the largest incubator of India in Lucknow. So it's beautifully drafted. It's a fantastic policy. Now responsibility and the onus is on us to execute it and implement it in the true spirit of this document.
Right. So Abhishek, one of the challenges which I feel, and that is, so all these things are very important, and I think being nicely executed compared to all the other states where we work, where personally I work with. The biggest challenge I see is from the startup side, right, or the kids and college entrepreneur side, that one, the awareness is not there about these policies. I don't see people proactively reaching out to you or the department or to us as an accelerator, that
Right.
that we want this. Secondly, a lot of these people, because they think that they are also taxpayers, so they have certain things which should be come on the platter. कि मेहनत नहीं करनी पड़े, सब कुछ मिल जाए, and that is actually, I think, goes against the entire concept of entrepreneurship. You can't have everything on the platter.
Right.
वो पाल नहीं रहे हैं आपको, हम हेल्प करने वाले हैं. So how, what do you think should be the right approach of creating that awareness about all these policy, and also telling them that the government is an enabler. It's
Right.
Government is not supposed to work for you. You need to work on your own.
Right. Right.
So this is I think a little complicated question to answer, but I think you can answer it because you
It's
do
a
it.
very valid and very good question, which I would love to answer, because there's a little bit of myth also that I have an idea and why government doesn't support me to execute this idea.
Right.
So this is a sort of question which I get almost on daily basis. Some call or the other from some corner of the state I would get, and he would say, "Sir, I have a fantastic idea and I want some support from the government." So I would like to say there are two aspects of government's initiative, any initiative. First of all, government has limited means to do anything. We have limited means, limited people, and obviously there's a lot of there are a lot of programs, a lot of things which are going on. So as long as any program is concerned, whether it's startup or anything else, we have there are two-pronged strategy. One is obviously to help the startups through financial incentives, through mentoring, through etc. But other than that, the main activity for the government is to provide a regulatory environment, a conducive policy environment, so
Correct.
that the ecosystem flourishes and nurtures itself. So what we are doing, and we understand this responsibility very well. So I don't think as a government, we should be concerned whether the person has an idea or not, whether the person will be able to mature the idea or not. But because it will be very difficult for the government to handle each and every individual, but rather what we are doing is we are working with people like you, with organizations like Curatives Incubator, or there are so many other incubators which we have recognized. So we are creating this beautiful infrastructure for the benefit of our startups, for those individuals who have any remotest idea towards any startup, any innovation, any business model which they want to pursue. So my recommendation to them would be that government is here to create that infrastructure. We, in this new policy, we have created an ambitious target for ourselves, which is setting up 100 incubators across the state, at least one incubator in each district. We are also coming up with the largest incubator in Lucknow. We are also in the process of developing a lot of IT parks, which will have a default incubation space within them. So these are the infrastructure projects which we are already doing. And it's just a matter of time that it reaches you. There are already 18-20 incubators which are already working in the space. So I think we have done our bit. Now it is your job to have an idea, to go to these incubators. Please reach out to Curatives. Vet your idea. There are mentors, there are experts already sitting over there. They will help you out. And once you are incubated, once your idea is vetted, because not every idea is executable. That is also a very important point people need to understand, because they become very emotional about their ideas, that I've thought something and how can I leave it, and somebody will steal it and I have to protect it. So बहुत सारे उसके साथ myths हैं. So please be open-hearted. nobody can execute your idea because the meat is in the execution. हर आदमी के पास कुछ ना कुछ आइडिया होता है, but सब execute नहीं कर सकते. So that's the real, task. Otherwise, so just go get it vetted by the experts, the mentors, and if you need any sort of financial incentive, financial support, then government is there, and we have our own rules and regulations and checks and balances. But even to cross those barriers of checks and balances, your incubators and mentors will help you out. They will tell you how the government, proposals go, how government vetting processes, and how can you avail those incentives. So it is not so difficult, but there are bound to be some parameters and the compliances which everyone has to do. So I think the ecosystem is there. We are doing our bit, and now it's your time to contribute.
Right. So I totally agree that and this is something which comes to us also, that हमारा idea है हमें and there are startups which come through the government channels, that हमें बोला गया आपसे बात करने के लिए, and they have and they will come and say that सरकारी बाबू ने कहा है तो आपको हमें एक्स्ट्रा मार्क्स देने चाहिए. And obviously we can't just tell everyone कि आपका आइडिया अच्छा है, because that again goes against the the concept of supporting the right kind of ideas. Let what I think last question from me, and then probably if Nishta wants to ask anything. When we look at these policies at large, and especially if we're talking about the UP tech policy, what are the things specifically, the sectors which UP wants to focus, the priority sectors for UP?
Right. So in terms of the priority sectors, I think we are primarily an agrarian state, as we all understand. So our focus has always been on the agriculture, and from the startups perspective also, we are very much focused that we badly need some startups to come into the agriculture sector and support our farmers and the entire value chain of the agriculture products. Apart from that, you must have heard about the ODOP program. So UP is a state where almost every district has a very unique product, and considering the uniqueness of these products and uniqueness of different regions, this ODOP program was launched by Honorable CM. So in this policy, we have also suggested that we will create dedicated incubators for each and every ODOP cluster, where these specific products, whether it's jaggery, whether it's handicraft, whether it's vinegar, whether it's pottery. So dedicated incubators will come up, and they will support these artisans and any startup which wants to create a business model, create a technology to support these artisans or farmers, or So the idea is to promote the entrepreneurship within the state. The idea is to get the startups working on some of the public sector problems, the problems of the common people, the problems of probably, if there are some issues government is facing, then government would like to pose those issues to the startups. So we want young entrepreneurs, brilliant minds to come forward and solve those issues, whether it's for the governance, whether it's for the, common people of from the ease of life perspective, ease of doing business perspective. So these are some larger issues which we want our startups to address.
These are great things which the government is actually focusing on. As we know that COVID-19 has impacted a lot of students and their careers, what is your advice to the little ones and to everyone watching out there?
Sure. Thank you so much. Hello, Nishtha.
Hello.
I think I missed your point.
Okay. So as you know that COVID-19 situation has impacted a lot of students, and so what is your advice to them?
Okay. Sorry. So COVID-19 situation, I think this is a very interesting time for all of us. Because during the COVID-19, our movement is restricted. We are confined to our homes, but at the same time, it gives us a immense opportunity. जैसा कि हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा है कि आपदा को अवसर में बदलना चाहिए हमें. So this is a problem which we can always convert into an opportunity. So I think if there are budding entrepreneurs, there can't be a better time for them to work on an idea during these times. So sit at home, after your schooling time, after your tuitions, after all, whatever, regular work you have. After that, if you have any free time, which you must be having, then do some research, create some ideas, talk to your elders, talk to your parents, and find, mentors. So it's a fantastic time to come up with an idea, to mature the idea, to work on it, to create business models. I think COVID-19 gives you an opportunity from your busy schedule to be a little more innovative and to create something original this time. And the moment the restrictions are lifted, then you can just go all out in the market and start executing your ideas.
You have shared some real insights, which we are sure entrepreneurs from outside UP also would like to work in the state and be real change makers for the country. Thank you very much, Abhishek, for being a part
Thank you
of
so Thank you so much, Mr.
Before ending the session, I would like to thank all the audience who have been watching us on Facebook Live or going to the recording after this session. These times under COVID-19 situation has created a vacuum and forced us to face times we had never dreamt of. Engaging kids has become quite an effort who are forced to stay inside their homes 24/7. This Kids Live initiative, like many others, may help to keep your child engaged and updated. If you want to acknowledge more topics, you may write to us on our Facebook page or on our website, kidspreneur.com, and feel free to put any suggestions. Thank you once again, Amit and Abhishek, for joining the show. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jishta, and thank you again, Abhishek. Thank you so much.